Queen. All right, let's come back to Gauteng, and we go to the capital city now, where political analyst Levy Ndou is in our Pretoria studios, and we welcome him to talk to us a little bit about this SONA. Thanks so much. Always a pleasure to talk to you. I think every year one hears that this is an important SONA, perhaps one of the most important, but one gets a sense that this one will be very important on two levels. One for the nation and one for President Cyril Ramaphosa himself. Let's start with why this is important for the President himself.
Peter, good afternoon, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. This becomes one of the important speeches by the President, because last year he had to address the nation, and then he had to outline his vision for South Africa. And what then he did last year was to indicate priority areas for South Africa, identify the challenges, and then said these are the promises that he actually put forward. In the second year now, after the last year's speech, he must start to indicate the actions that he started to do, especially in relation to priority areas that he actually identified. Everybody is expecting to hear what the President is going to say in relation to the steps that government has taken about job creation and youth unemployment. The plan is there, but people will want to know to which extent has government moved in addressing these issues. We have got challenges that relate to SOEs, Eskom, SAA, PRASA, Telkom, and other SOEs. Government has to come to the people and say, these are the challenges that we've identified, and these are the plans that we're dealing with in order to address the challenges that these different SOEs are actually facing. The time for speeches like any other people are saying, it's over, but ordinary citizens will love to know to which extent has the government moved to address the challenges facing ordinary citizens.
All right. I suppose a year down the line, yes, people want to see some quick wins, as it were, but is it perhaps too much of an expectation to think that he could do a lot in just a year?
It is important, Peter, to understand the government cycle. Government has a 5-year period, and the government is given sufficient time to plan. And if we had elections last year in April, the current administration has run for almost 7 to 8 months now, and indeed they are able to say, based on the plans that we've put forward, these are the steps, or these are the areas that we think we've actually done well. And if you want to bring confidence to ordinary citizens, you need to start saying that we've been able to achieve the following, even though some of the issues cannot be resolved immediately. But one is expecting to start seeing some motion on the part of government in addressing challenges that are facing ordinary citizens. The plan that has been put forward should be seen to be moving or to be in motion, and that you'll be able to bring confidence to ordinary citizens to say, indeed, the challenges that has been identified by government are known, and government is actually moving in order to address those challenges.
Let's talk a little bit about the tone of this SONA. How should it leave South Africans feeling? I remember in his first two, there were big messages of a vision, smart cities, bullet trains, and a vision of the future. And I guess this is what people want to hear, because they've got a new leader and they want to see what his big picture for the future is. But I guess now it's more about realistic things that can happen right now.
Indeed. When you come into the administration for the first time, you outline your vision. You portray an element of a person that understand what is happening in the country. You identify the problems and then you develop your vision. In the second year, you need to start implementing in terms or on the challenges that we've actually identified. And that is why it's important for the president to say today, in relation to SOEs, these are the steps that government has actually taken in order to address those challenges. In relation to jobs or unemployment, these are the steps that government has actually taken to address these issues. In the fight against crime and corruption, the president must be able to say, these are the different steps that we've actually taken to deal with all these matters. And what ordinary citizens will be expecting would be to see government that is seen to be moving in addressing the very same challenges that are known by government and ordinary citizens.
All right, I'm going to use an analogy. Often when I'm at an airport and a plane has been delayed, I don't mind that it's delayed as long as I'm told what the problem is and realistically how long it's going to take to fix. I just wonder if he has to take the nation into his confidence and say, look, this is how bad things are, this is what I can fix and this is what I can't fix, and therefore we don't have unreasonable expectations.
You need honesty. You need government that is able to come out and say, we have a problem of unemployment and we think we are unable to address this matter. Even though you would actually talk about different conferences and gatherings that has taken place to address these issues. But to a certain extent, you need to be very honest or realistic when you deal with some of the challenges. If government could not build houses for a majority of citizens that are still waiting on the queue, government must be able to say, we wanted to build 2 million houses, but we couldn't because of these kind of problems that we actually face. That is an honest leader who is able to tell the citizens what is actually very correct. The notion that politicians are dishonest, politicians don't tell the truth, is found to be correct because some leaders would always want to be seen to be relevant or to be seen to be able to address all the challenges that are available. And sometimes that's the biggest mistake that politicians make.
All right, you know what, I think just pause for a second, because as we're talking, we're also trying to get a sense from our viewers what their thoughts are on today's SONA. So listen to it, our next caller. Vanessa?
All right, so we have Anna Bester calling us from Cape Town. Good afternoon to you, Anna. What are your expectations?
Hi there, lady. I am not sure of your name. I am staying in Cape Town. I was born on the 8th of December, 1947. My husband passed away 14 years ago. He worked for the railways. I am battling with the railway pension that we get. Why isn't anybody fighting for us so that we can get our money back?
All right. Thank you so much, Anna, for your call, Peter.
All right, okay, well, let's go to Levi. And I guess, Levi, these are the kinds of issues that will come up. There are many citizens with very serious day-to-day issues, particularly our senior citizens, and they're going to want to hear something from the president tonight.
Indeed. There is a focus by government to look at the interest of the poor and the marginalized, including the aged people. And I'm aware that the majority of the elderly are going to be watching and listening to the State of the Nation address because they expect something to be done that affects their daily lives. Most of these aged people are actually suffering. They live in poor communities and they want to know what is the program that government has in order to address their own challenges. And I know that most of them want to hear something positive that comes from the mouth of the said president. And I hope that these are some of the areas that the president has to touch on in order to have the marginalized, the poor, and the women to be seen as being taken care of by government. And I know government has to actually focus on those issues because I think they actually take them very, very seriously.
All right. I mean, again, you know, we have different layers of government, and he's at national government, he's the CEO of the country, but I guess the rock face really is at local government level, municipalities, and I wonder if isn't that where the real messages should be coming and be communicated to citizens? What can he say? Because most of the action actually happens at local government.
The ANC government is aware that service delivery has to happen mainly at local government. And what I think is a big challenge on the part of government is that in terms of deploying right people in local government, that's an area that for me is wanting. How many municipalities are being run by people that have relevant qualifications and skills to run municipalities? How many municipalities in South Africa are actually not running their finances correctly? How many citizens are actually complaining about poor service delivery in municipalities? How many days do we hear of where there are service delivery protests, and especially at municipalities? And if we can take the best of our citizens that are found at national parliament, deploy them into a local government, take the best qualified people that we have in South Africa and deploy them at local government, I'm aware that if we do that, we can see a lot of change. And I expect those that are in local government to actually ensure that with the message that they get from the president, they actually go back and say, we have a responsibility to deliver the best that we could in order to ensure that ordinary citizens get the best services from us.
All right, Prof, we're going to leave it there for the time being, but please stay with us because we'll continue chatting to you. But